Boom, 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 boom. Welcome to the Offspace podcast. I don't know what the fuck I just did with my hands and mouth pause. This is your host with the motherfucking most true offer.
And it's your favorite co-host, Ezigo Offer.
And before we even dive into this podcast, I wanted to go ahead and bring up a vulnerable moment, for us as a family. It's something that we've really been dealing with as of late.
I don't know what he's talking about. I'm not even going to let you cap on this app. But go ahead, man.
You really don't?
Are you talking about that one thing?
Yeah, like last time that I was on the family FaceTime call, my mom was expressing some grievances with some of the, body modifications and altering things that people have been doing, right? Like tattoos are in that category for her. And Ezgo was talking about the fact that he wanted to get devil horns and he wanted to get a tail attached to him like a furry.
I don't think I ever said that. I know I never said that, and you're not going to set me up. I'm kind of happy because it's almost like you instinctively brought it back somehow. Because you just are starving for it. You had to do it. You needed to. It's been so many episodes without you creating a narrative around my name. So
I thought this is where we were here to be open and honest with our fans. But whatever, let's just get into it. How was your last week?
It was good.
Y'all can't tell. Ezgo's sick of me from our whole day together.
My week was good. I'm not going to lie. Again, happens sometimes. I got... just memory fog right now of what my week actually entailed, but I know that it was good. But no matter what, all I can think of, at least talking about today, we were finally able to try something that I know has gained a lot of steam and a lot of traction, at least in the Atlanta area, because a restaurant popped up recently that has been catering to a specific type of food and a specific item on that menu. And so today, my boy out here, putting on for the city, finally, saying,
yes, sir.
Dreams money can buy. Chuka decided to treat the Offspace, and we went out and got some birria tacos. So give it up for your boy one time. Champion.
And really, like everybody, we all scroll our little timelines on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and we see the really fine looking food, right? Mm-hmm. And it's a 50-50 chance at this point because I'm the sucker that they're marketing to because I'm going to go look for it if it's in my city, whether it be just something that's a trend up north. I'm still trying to eat some authentic poutine and some Canadian shit, but I want to actually go up to Canada to eat it,
I feel like poutine's so easy to make that you don't have to eat authentic shit because you can just search YouTube's the thing. You go on YouTube, you find the one Canadian that has the recipe, you go on there, you take it, you make it.
But my whole thing is
If I may. Some bad poutine is real off poutine.
Some bad poutine is real off poutine. Actually, DJ can't talk with the rest of the
No.
He lost the right.
No.
He's out.
This is where we interject with an important discussion because I was going to get into food, but fuck it. All right, so I was thinking about something, right? And I have a theory. Every white male transitions into a dad joke phase at some point. And I don't know where it is embedded in their DNA because you really can never guess or see it coming.
I started to see the 17.
Ezgo, when does he say the transition happened? And Ezgo says 17, and I feel like that can't be true because that could be some early showings though, so maybe it is true.
20s where it fully sets in.
But DJ is one of those people, I could not have seen it coming from left field. Played all sports, was cool, only hung out with really a ton of black people in high school. It was just maybe it might break the stereotype. There's no way. And then my dog went to Valdosta and said, I'm a level up.
The only way to keep yourself sane.
And then he came back with some bad poutine is all poutine. I'm so butthurt. I don't even want to talk about my week. Fuck
some of these episodes some of those recipes get real cheesy, man.
No way. You going to? I feel like I'm being attacked. I'm
not gonna lie. This is about to become the pun episode. Off the record.
I can't do this. Anyway.
This is gonna be the pun episode, y'all. But yeah, I forgot one more thing.
So if y'all haven't realized, the docket's a little light today. You see how we're fucking talking.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I've been running the laps in my head trying to create content. And while I've been running the laps in my head, I've actually been jogging a lot more. So yeah, that's something I've actually been doing this week and having fun with. I'm not gonna, go into some dark side to it, the dark side of Ezigo running, because there was some drama around it. But I'm back out. I'm doing me. Championship.
And I will say, at least for myself this week, I've had a pretty, to be quite honest, I've had a pretty positive past week. It seems like very, very slowly. Don't get me wrong. Like I haven't 180'd right back on top of all of my shit, but I've been like getting back on top of it, like being definitely a lot more responsible. I've actually seen the morning for a few days now. I'd be waking up late normally. So I mean, and this with like the working out, work, and just like trying to get back into the swing of little things. But other than that, like
that's when somebody hits you with the weird flex, but okay.
No,
but it's real shit.
No, but truly though, it's like when you get onto a downturn in life, like whenever you feel like a lot of people, it's the seasonal depression, right? With the, like this change of the seasons, the daylight savings, less sunlight, like all of that stuff. But I don't know, whenever you get into those funks and you start to see that you're clawing your way, you're like, fuck, finally, like it's time to go, let's get it. And so, like, one of the best experiences and really best parts of my week did happen earlier today when we did go and try those birria tacos. Because, like, yes, you can go make those things on your own. And truly, I trust myself. Don't get me wrong, because I know how to cook. But it's like, when it comes to the traditional flavor profiles, right, I always want to get a good sample before I do it myself. Because while I believe that I can recreate it and make it taste good, it's just like if you walk into that authenticity, that good consomme, the good tacos, they had goat, they had beef, they have beef tongue, which we will be back to try. Apparently that's only a weekend exclusive. Like, dog, I heard all of my like West Coast friends and just like people in LA, like whatever, like hyping it up because they have regular taco trucks everywhere, you know, with the huge Latin influence and the Latin population out there. And they freaked it. They created these birria tacos, but there's been a lot of Instagram stuff or like Twitter stuff that I've tried and it's been kind of mid, right? Yeah. But it's once again hit or miss, but this shit was just like a magical experience. So definitely like the shameless plug, if y'all are in Atlanta or in the metro Atlanta area, go to Birria El Gordo,
north side of Atlanta.
Yes, Sirski, and try those shits for yourself because they were slapping. Like me and Ezio, like we had moments like we have a fucking podcast because we can't stop talking. And so like there were so many moments, especially when it's just like us around each other or like DJ or like Jesse, just like friends that we know that we can speak freely, I guess, in front of, which we're going to speak freely in front of anybody, but like a flow of conversation, I guess, we'll add that. Then, but like when you take the bite of the taco or any food and you instantly, for any of y'all that watch Food Wars or Shokugeki no Soma, you have like the out-of-body experience where you feel like your clothes just ripped off and you're really just like eating the umami, the delicious flavors, you know you're there. You know, like, you're there.
Eating that was just the experience, you know what I'm saying? The onions, everything, the lime, the salsa verde, just topping it off, just, and then dipped into the consomme.
I gotta stop. I'm getting horny, but
bro, I'm about to pause this. Hold up. I'm gonna go ahead and stop the podcast.
The first podcast.
I'm not doing a podcast with my brother having a stiffy right next to me. I
don't care what anyone. Then we better stop talking about these damn tacos because it's only gonna get worse. But. Moving right along to heat checks for the week. All right. What was your heat check?
So listening to the song, I think it's pronounced Streatham or Streatham
or Streatham.
Streatham?
Yeah.
Streatham. Yeah, Streatham. Whatnot. So yeah, Streatham by Dave off of his last album, which I was just fortunate enough to actually be diving into now because I'm not gonna lie, for a while I was that guy. 100%, I'll admit it. I didn't like UK rap or like that scene at all. At all.
He said them niggas suck.
I didn't say they suck. I said the music wasn't for me. If it was for somebody else, that's good. But in my eyes, it was not it.
Are we going to give up the game?
What?
About the it's not for me, really me? Never mind, let's stop.
No, it's not because like, it's not for me.
I say it a lot. So I mean,
no, it's important. It's important because it's not for me. Lets you know that in my eyes, I didn't like it. Take that how you will. To what degree? Maybe I just like was a little bit whatever, or it was booty cheeks. That's whatever. You know, I'm not gonna go that much in depth. I'm not gonna be that much of a hater. I don't care that much.
Of course.
But other people, I'm not, because at the end of the day, we have a platform, and so if people are watching us and they're like, oh, the Offspace said just outright it was ass, that means no one should listen to it. If I say it's not for me, maybe it's not for me, but maybe you'll like it. And I'm not going to ever say some shit is just a complete garbage, because that nigga has to feed their family.
No, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I was really just fucking around with the jokes, but it's like exactly what you're talking about when it goes into it's not for me.
And I'm not saying that's even an original idea, because I've always kind of been like that without knowing why. But I was watching a Vince interview that kind of drove that idea home, But
exactly,
yeah,
because it's not for me. Like, if someone really went to a studio, recorded vocals and put them over an instrumental, took their time out of their day to make it, and they thought it was good enough to release, you know what I'm saying? I will always think all of that is good music.
Yeah.
Because it's good music because there's obviously someone out there that likes it, but not for me does not just means that in this particular moment, while it may be good, it's just not some shit I want to listen to. But
Exactly.
back to you,
So
Squidward,
again,
learning about your love of UK rap.
So I've been enjoying it a lot. Streatham's also like, again, the Psychodrama album by Dave that dropped in 2019. Again, it's not like a heat check in the sense that it's new, but if y'all are like me and you don't know much about that scene and you're just now diving into the music, this is definitely a song to check out. I would say too, and we've talked on it in previous episodes of the podcast, especially when you're trying to dive into new music and things like that, you get the full experience if there is a music video out, because I feel like that helps set the vibe too. So go ahead and watch that. I'm not gonna lie, some of these UK niggas are cold, bro. Cold as hell.
No, I'm telling you, bro, some of that music's so hard. Like, that's what, because all jokes aside, I had a similar moment probably when I was like 19-ish, where I finally just said fuck it, and I went through like the rabbit hole of all the typicals. But from the typicals, which is why it's always funny to me when people make fun of like casual fans in industries, like you start at like mainstream and like the big shit,
and then
right?
you go like,
and then you trickle down to your care to find, hey, this one Stormzy song sounds just like this, and he's rapping like this. Let me find niggas that rap like this version of Stormzy because that's what I like. And then you start to branch down.
And the feature that he had on that song, let me listen to that person's stuff. And that person has features. Then you're like, oh, you go down the rabbit hole.
Everybody's a casual fan of something at some point.
Bro,
so I'm just happy that you fuck with it, because there's a lot of cold niggas out there like...
They got me feeling like I might buy an Aston Martin, bro. I never
thought they be talking about it so much.
Considered an Aston Martin. I've never seen one in a music video. I thought I saw some James Bond shit. I was like, okay, I see you.
Wait, Rick Ross made a series called Aston Martin.
Yeah, but come on now. Let's be real. How long ago was that shit? You know what I'm saying? Niggas not actually talking about the Aston Martin in 2020.
You're right, though. Not as much. You think it's just them UK niggas?
It's flipped up, bro. Come on now.
But my heat check for the week is actually from an album that we talked about last week, the King Von Project. I R.I.P. to that man once again, but I don't know. It's like we said previously, it's honestly one of my greatest feelings. It feels a little bit bittersweet in Vaughn's case, just because he has unfortunately left us at this time. But I love, in this era where we have so much fucking music all the time, every single week, and a lot of it's good music, don't get me wrong. I love when I shelve artists, because I shelve a ton of artists. Like, there's a bunch, like Vaughn been supposed to have gotten onto his shit, and just like other names this year as well. I shelve them and I'm like, I know I'm gonna get back to you because I'm probably gonna like the music, you know what I'm saying? And so when you do get to those artists and you listen to the music and that shit is heat, you just feel like a little Christmas gift, like you just gave yourself a fucking Christmas gift. And so like last week, actually before the podcast, this is another testament, and I will give Esgo the shout out on this one, just because it wasn't even before the podcast. It was actually it was a few weeks ago, because it was before Vaughn's project came out, when they actually had the music video made, because they made the music video after the song dropped. You know, I think it was one of the singles from the project, and Esgo played it. I was like, oh, this is kind of tough, and then just kind of like didn't think about it, right? And then I started listening to this new Vaughn project, and I loved every single song on the project more than this song, right? And then all of a sudden, at the top of this week, it clicked for me. And the code it's not might. I'm going on record here saying that y'all will see it in this next month or so, whenever we start doing our best of the years and things like that. The code is definitely a top 5 like hardest song I've heard this year. Like, that shit is mind blowing. Like, the way Polo G blacked out, like actually blacked out on his verse. Fucking Vaughn just went into a different form. I think he ascended.
Those two were tapping into like a solid duo type shit,
right? Like, that's why you start to think of the what ifs, because King Von and Polo G, if they had energy like that, you know what I'm saying? I need a tape. I need a discography. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need a library of this shit. And so once again, RIP to King Von. My heat check is The Code, King Von featuring Polo G. And potential other things to talk about this week when it comes to music drops. Future and Uzi dropped a project, Baby Pluto and Pluto, right? And I personally thought that project was so fire. Like, that is chemistry that you could just predict. You know what I'm saying? Just because we won't say derivative of, but we won't say derivative of at all, but Uzi's definitely in the age group, right? That you can tell that Future was probably one of his favorite artists.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? And so, like, even when it comes to the respect thing, like, this nigga Uzi is first week numbers, I think he's still leading it this year in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like crushing. Like I know Lil Baby ended up having like the most sales, right? But I know that Uzi had like the top first week. So he's still like the stratosphere of hip hop. That nigga had damn near gold in a week. You know what I'm saying? That's so hard.
And it was coming off the anticipation because people were waiting for that album.
Exactly.
Waiting for it.
It's so hard to do in the streaming era. So obviously Uzi is a superstar himself, but the fact that he's even willing to be called Baby Pluto, and then there's Pluto, you know what I'm saying? You could see the respect factor there.
You know that he looked up to Future in a sense, especially in the way that they both kind of get on their shit. Obviously, you can break it down into a million different ways, but if we're just pinpointing one, and especially being a younger person who was watching like a Future, a bunch of rappers flex, and we get that. But the way Future flexed his shit back in his like primetime shit was different, and I feel like that's almost reminiscent.
Like what? So, no, exactly, and just like seeing their chemistry on songs like a fucking Free Baby Pluto, like that's probably my favorite song on the tape for surely. That one or Lullaby. That one, Lullaby, which was the Uzi solo song, or there was other song with Pluto in the name, which I also thought was outstanding.
She Never Been to Pluto was really nice, but the Real Baby Pluto one where they were snapping on just rapping shit. I really like Plastic and That's It. I feel like those are the ones that are going to have some of the most like replay value for the fact that they weren't like super aggressive or anything, but it was like a vibe the whole time throughout. And so you can really just have it casually playing all the time.
And it was such a nice surprise, you know what I'm saying? Because like we knew that they wanted to work together and they'd work together, cool. But no one expected them to drop a whole ass tape on your head top. Because when they announced music, I thought they were gonna drop a little single together. You know what I'm saying? Like a little song together. Like no, these niggas dropped an album and the deluxe in the same week. So
the thing is though, it's like hearing these two names talking about they're dropping music together, I'm not surprised because I know they like to drop music. You feel me? Like you're seeing what Uzi did with his last project, and then knowing the fact the Future and just how much music he's dropped in his like whole discography, like collaborations included.
Rings on rings.
But one day we're gonna go back to What a Time to Be Alive, because even though obviously it was Drake and Future at the heights of their career probably at that time, I still think it was underappreciated. And that's still crazy to even think.
What a Time to Be Alive was a moment, dog. I just remember being in the car with shouts out to, once again, tattoo artist and rekindled friend, Fabi. Like, I remember us being in the car and What a Time to Be Alive dropping. And both of us, I think we even had some shit to do or a place to go. Like, this nigga parked, immediately said, I don't know where you're going, but I'm copying this right now. I was like, well... you know where I'm going. My hand's in the iTunes store because I copped this immediately. And we just sat in our car in a parking lot. And no, his car in a parking lot. And we listened to the whole album all the way through. That was a fucking moment. That was definitely a fucking moment. So shouts out to Fabi. Shouts out to What a Time to Be Alive. But I mean...
That was about the time where I started liking Jordan Brand a little bit more too. Because I'm not going to lie. Drake made me a Jordan believer. Not going to lie. Drake made you feel like a champion.
I'm not gonna, like, you know what's dope to me? Like, honestly, I'm so happy, and I know these are your babies, and these are your people, and one day, friend of the show, Adidas. But it's like, you know how Drake almost had the Adidas switch up? I'm so happy that Ye and Push fucked that up. I'm not going to lie to you. Because this nigga was made for Jordan Brand. You know what I'm saying? Like, the way this nigga do Nike and Jordan is so much better than what I would assume a Drake Adidas.
The thing is...
What you never know, though,
you would assume.
You would assume.
You never know what that man's going to deliver because he's just like a quality creator. He's an ultra creative.
He's a hyper creative. He's a hyper creative. Yeah, is he a micro-influencing, hyper-creative?
One day we're going to get into our bag on that shit, but...
That shit is hilarious, bro. Like, Clubhouse has been one of the greatest gifts,
what do you
for
do?
sure.
I'm a hyper-creative.
From shit that we fucking, like, have learned and, like, things that we've seen on that application. But fucking, it is one of the funniest things ever seeing industry people get into their, like, snooty bag.
If you ever want to determine whether or not you're an industry person... Spend 10 minutes on Clubhouse.
Oh, for sure.
You'll everything you know in the industry.
There's definitely like some things about it are just kind of corny about the whole scene, but
I mean, you meet
it's
so
whatever.
many.
I feel like that's in everything though.
For
So
sure.
you
Like,
just take it what it.
There's so
what it
many
is.
cool ass industry people on there, but then there's a lot of the like. I know this is why a lot of the homies hate going to industry events, because they're in rooms full of people like y'all in real life. You know what I'm saying? Like, like imagine being at a mixer and you're drinking a drink. You think you're about to go holler at Shorty. You're like, yo, what do you do? She's like, well, I mean, I don't really do much, you know? And then it's just like everyone's bio. Like, I'm even calling myself out because I even fucking like edited out my bio a little bit too. But it's like, it's everyone reading each bulletproof of their bio straight out. Like,
Exactly.
it's just like, I'm a this creative, but I kind of work with this, partnership with, blah, 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 blah. It's like, nigga, it's okay.
Actor, model,
I'm a writer, but you know, my real passion is songwriting.
And then you look down and you see like 19, and it's like I'm not discrediting that. Like you could be young, like the most like talented person who's done a lot of things.
Too many young
but
people, for sure.
You know, don't be that person who jumps the gun and throws something on before you actually do it. Because to be in some realms, I feel like I've done that. In some realms, I feel like I've seen certain people do it, and I don't know, like whatever. It's gonna be a bad look. It's like when you put something on your resume that you didn't do, and all of a sudden you get called up for the job. Yo, when I got hired at Wells Fargo, actually, which is kind of funny, they tested me. They tested me as I put certain things on there, and they got down to my skills portion of my resume, and they saw Spanish. And the funny thing is, I put Spanish because I was like going super hard on the Duolingo, watching all these Spanish like Netflix shows and like trying to learn this shit.
You're
again.
like, I'm ready for this.
And I already took Spanish, so like I knew like I was a beginner, which I emphasize certain beginner shit, but I put Spanish on there. And so I'm seeing the people I'm getting interviewed by, and I see a Hispanic name and then like and another name. I'm like, fuck, all right. So I sit in, and Brittany, my old manager at the time, was like a black woman. She asked me, and Emma sitting there, Hispanic woman. She's like, so we see, you know, Spanish. And she starts hitting me with the really nigga.
Your first red flag was you speak Spanish in a bank teller interview, bro.
Bro, I put in whatever.
It's the second most common language in America.
And like
For sure. You knew they needed it.
You
know they need it.
At my branch, it was the most common language. So I was like, I didn't know where the fuck I was about to be interviewing for. But I just said, yeah. And then she was like, all right. And didn't say shit else. On the job though, when we had like Hispanic people come up that couldn't speak English and they started speaking, and obviously I'm trash, but like I'm a beginner, so I can communicate things, but I wasn't the best. And so like when I was helping customers with like my just patience and like working things through and like handle full transactions in Spanish, they were like we paused the whole work day. Everybody turned over like, what the fuck is this?
They're like, oh damn,
He wasn't lying.
He can understand.
They're like, all right, on to the next.
What really happened was Ezio did a bank, like a hold up. He did a bank robbery. Todos tus dineros. No, not like that. No.
Oh no. Jesus Christ. My dog was in there probably getting killed.
But yeah, moral of the fucking story, don't lie on your resume.
We went from Clubhouse to not lying on your resume. But speaking about some Clubhouse shit, and just because I didn't want to dive into it too much, other than us obviously offering, you know, well wishes to somebody that we speak highly upon all the time on this podcast, Benny the Butcher, who just got shot in a Walmart in Houston, I believe. That is one dope thing for sure, just because of how fast you'll get information, because these are people that are actually connected. Is like, as soon as the Benny shit happened, the first thing I did was hop into Clubhouse, because one of the biggest rooms was about the Benny situation, and immediately it was someone connected saying that he's straight, like he's okay. He's already been on the phone with him. It went straight through his legs. Like it was obviously lucky. Like nothing happened, but it's not like a life endangering thing, so people can like rest easy. So I'm definitely happy to hear that he's okay.
That is definitely good to hear, man. Because like, especially just more life to live, man. Like at bottom line, more life. Luckily wasn't robbed of that, and he gets to see those years, so we're excited for where he keeps going, what he brings to his music. Niggas like that though, they go through some tragic shit, be making the best music, bro. Putting their soul
Benny
on the
is
line.
about to have the most fire "I got shot and should have killed you niggas" line ever on his next song that he drops, and I'm ready for it for sure. And I need that Drake song. But anyways, So Help Me God was a project that came out this week as well by 2 Chainz, and that is something that I think that majority of people should at least give a listen to, because one thing that kind of makes me a little bit upset with like how microwavy the world is when it comes to, and everybody's kind of fallen victim to it a little bit. Like, we all digest music, yes, but I mean, like, for the most part, everybody's meter has moved a tiny bit. Like, I won't say everybody is as microwavy as one another, but I don't know many a person that's still like, the album comes out in January and then December of that following year, it's been in heavy rotation the whole
Bro, I like to
year.
think I'm somebody who's very good at counteracting this. And I even notice certain things. First off, I can't stand songs that are over 3 minutes now. I need my shit at 2.5. Albums that are longer than 50 minutes start to piss me off.
Bro.
And I'm only listening to them for a couple months, if that. So it's like, and then I will come back to them.
Oh, of course.
But I'm not going to I don't think you should ever listen to something like anymore. I don't think you should ever really, unless it really touches your soul, every day for like 10 years.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, we're in a different time, of course. Like, when Take Care dropped, like, I could promise you I listen to Take Care every single day for at least the next 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, and when you don't have, like, streaming platforms and you have the CDs you bought in the radio, then I'll believe you if you're listening to some shit every day for 10 years.
But it's dope. It's definitely, like, one thing that makes me a little bit sad, though, about the microwave era is because of how much new and hot shit is out there, don't get me wrong, and with how attached people are with memes, social media, like all of that shit, a lot of our legends get put on the wayside a little bit.
To hotter drops.
And to hotter drops, of course, and then just kind of forgotten about. And truly, I think that happened with Libra this year, T.I.'s project, because I think that was a really fucking solid project, but niggas are really checking for T.I. because now with social media, and it's nothing negative, don't get me wrong, because these niggas are all getting to a bag, but I truly feel like there are probably more people, and I could be very wrong, don't get me wrong, so this is a relatively hot take, but I feel like there are probably more people checking for T.I. in outlets that aren't music right now, rather than running to the T.I. drop when he drops an album or drops a single or anything. That's why his podcast is doing well. That's why he's still asked to do like the complexes and like the little hosting stuff and like blah blah blah. It's because people love the personality. They like the person T.I., but his music's not really that high on the forefront as much anymore.
You know what doesn't help that though?
What?
The fact that touring isn't around. And so like if you don't immediately resonate with an album, or if it's not on the forefront of your mind, like again, it's out of there, right? But if somebody is like an opener for an individual and that's how you got introduced to their music, or you heard about it but you never listened and then you saw the live performance, it might make you listen to it again. Like I'll keep on referencing the fact that when Divine Feminine dropped, I didn't like it the most. I liked it, but I wasn't like listening to it a lot. After we went to that Matt concert, I listened to it all the fucking time. Like, you know, it immediately...
Exactly. I noticed. That shit became one of your favorite albums after you saw it live.
I was like, I get it now. I get
Sometimes you need that shit to get it. And actually that sparks a good conversation that I want to have after finishing this point just with the 2 Chainz album. So Help Me God. I definitely think you guys should check it out. A bunch of dope features on there, truly. Like there's Brent Faiyaz, Kanye West... There's Mulatto, Kevin Gates, Wayne, NBA Youngboy, Uzi, Chief Keef, Rose. Like, it's so many names that if you would think in a regular setting, like, people would immediately run to this fucking album. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's Ty Dolla $ign. Like, come on now. Like, it's a bunch of people that you know they produce good music. So... And I love that NBA Youngboy track. That shit crazy. I did not know the one thing I really never thought was that I'd be running to the NBA Youngboy 2 Chainz song. You know what I'm saying? But that shit tough. That shit dummy tough. But
I gotta listen to the
combo that I wanted to have actually, and you would be a good person to have this conversation with, just because of the fact that I know how much. I mean, we all like live music. Don't get me wrong when it comes to, you know, shows and shit. Definitely miss that. I can't wait to be able to go to shows and shit again. But the effect that live music has for your album's cultural effect, right? Because certain artists, you can tell, and we've seen this process, right? When artists talk about their writing process, or when it comes to their song making process, a lot of artists make songs for shows, right? And they make not just necessarily for shows, but with their performance in mind. They kind of know what they want the stage to look like.
They have the colors in mind, everything,
and
like
how they want the crowd to be reacting to this part of the song and this and that. Like, it's all in mind a lot of the times with these artists, because which is not very hidden information, a lot of artists' main source of income came from touring, but B, it's just kind of like me asking, sharing the experience. And so with artists like Travis Scott, for instance, right? Travis Scott, literally his music sounds like festival. It sounds like Rage, it sounds like Hardy, it sounds like this, it sounds like that. Do you think the effect of a Travis Scott album, if he was to drop one, and he's the top of the top right now, He's the top of the top. Like anybody that still you could say bubble behind them, Travis Scott's on top of there.
Yeah.
Because we already know what atmosphere Drake's in, and that's just, come on now, we got to be real. And so, Drake, Cole, and Kendrick. I want to be respectful to the three. But anyways, and so my question to you would be, if someone like a Travis Scott, right? And really, we could almost say the same. I wouldn't say the same about Uzi because obviously you saw the effect, but it's just like you see what Uzi's shit does at shows. Or like Playboy Cardi, you see what his shit does at shows. It's like, do you think like if a Cardi dropped right now, or if in minus anticipation, because we know niggas are looking for a whole lot of red, do you think it would make the cultural impact of their album suffer right now?
It's not would it, it's did it. We already saw it with Uzi's. Like Uzi's album had great music in it. Probably music that would have gone stupid at shows. You would have been seeing the best like little short films probably popping up with him in it or whatever. Like
so
little
many gifs of the
videos,
little shoulder of him dancing.
People just like the moment, whatever. People like doing all these things, content creation for YouTube with this in it too. If it got more of a like I guess buzz and a fire lit under it after the initial drop, but there was nothing to do that. The shows weren't there. All of that shit wasn't there. That you didn't get people outside just turning up to like all these songs like Myron, like Myron and Silly Man, like all this little shit, you know. So especially artists like that, and it almost is like, or do they stave off putting out music now, or do they keep doing it? But if you keep doing it and it keeps like not having the effect that it needs to, it's gonna end up ruining your career. So I feel like on a sad note, I think this time for those artists, if they're not playing their cards right, are actually going to do more damage to themselves from putting out music without having the right atmosphere for their type of music.
And then that's an interesting way to look at it for sure. I don't know about like career ruining, but it's like, I don't know. It's like
you're not going to go broke, but for, I guess I would say be having like the effect or like having
that's what the next question
like that.
That's what the next question. It's like, and so does this beg the question? Like Roddy's album that dropped at the end of last year, right? In December of last year, which so many people already had anthems they knew were going to be summer anthems, and they had this and they had that, right? When the world opens back up and we see at the ways, well, we live in Atlanta, this shit is open up. But I mean, like, if we go to when it becomes more normal, I guess, smaller shows, social distance shows, this, that, whatever. Do you think that certain artists are going to have like a revival of albums that you thought were kind of forgotten because they didn't have that moment? Or do you think that the world is going to just be moved on by then? Like because we think about it though, we haven't had the fortune, we have because we live in Atlanta, but I'm saying like the world hasn't had the fortunate moment of seeing WAP in clubs, like all over, you know what I'm saying? In like clubs, at parties, at fucking bars and shit like that. Do you think like when those shits can actually start going up again on a massive scale,
things like
that it's gonna revive certain songs like that, or
things like singles? Like yes, they're gonna be able to like definitely pop back up, especially if they were as big as like a WAP. You know, first off, at the end of the day, niggas are still turning up to No Hands. Like in the years 2020, I don't think that shit's gonna matter regardless. But when it comes to albums, if that artist dropped another album afterwards, you can almost guarantee that damn near the whole previous project is going to be in the wind moving forward. Like when they end up doing like their first tours again and things like that, whatever. So because that's going to have all the buzz. It's not going to be the other shit no matter how much that slapped. It's just not there anymore, especially if they're trying to push something else. And that's just like my thoughts around it.
Hey, look at this man.
You know what I'm saying?
I like that. Yes, sir, Ski. But moving along from music news, since we've musiced y'all out, but to be fair, it's our podcast, Suck My Dick.
Man, we go to the beat of our own drum.
I'm sorry. That one was such a bad delivery too. I'm actually cringing off of my own joke. I'm not gonna lie, that's bad. Honestly, I wanted us to go ahead and just get to some sad news and then some happy news. Some sad news is that Jeremiah was actually diagnosed with COVID-19 this week, and he was rushed to the ICU, you know, so he was definitely going through it, having complications. So we extend our love and prayers to Jeremiah for a quick recovery, and we hope that everything gets better with him. Of course, condolences and love from the Offspace. And to the most important thing that happened in music this week. I love you, JT. That's it. That's all I'll say. All right, City Girls.
Oh, I forgot. This man was about to tap into his horny bag.
Why do you call it a horny bag?
Because the comments that follow suit after are horny, of the horny nature.
I can't be a city boy?
What were you going to say?
I can't be a city boy?
What were you going to say?
I was going to say I was very happy for the way that JT handled the situation this week when she did have a wardrobe malfunction on her Instagram Live. She just owned it. She just talked about the fact, she kind of expressed the fact that a body is a body and you can't really judge it more than that. You know what I'm saying? That we can't push the narrative that we have to be overexcited or overemphasized when it's a woman's body or somebody else's. A titty is just a titty, you know? And so I'm happy that she pushed forward that positivity in the female community, and I hope that women everywhere will be able to realize that it is okay and things do happen.
While I know 100% he means everything he's saying truly from the bottom of his heart and it's all genuine, just know I'm your brother. And you know what weight that carry. I see you, Chief. I see you, because there was more to it than that. But don't worry.
Shouts out to JT and those beautiful Hershey kisses. But
yeah, that's all I needed to hear. That's all. You know you were happy to see him.
I was stoked. What? I watched that video 48 times. I tried to suck my phone.
You
ever see a nigga lick the phone
hitting
camera?
the replay and not even trying to?
You ever seen a nigga try to lick his phone screen?
I hope not.
Me too. I've never seen some weirdo shit like that. That's crazy. But
it's not the time to make a police joke, but
right. But moving right along, we have. I hate this nigga. I hate this nigga with all my heart. Every time DJ smiles, I know it's some bullshit. But moving right along, the last bit of music news actually, which is unfortunate, but we're going to keep an eye on this and we'll keep you guys updated. Apparently, like within hours of us recording this, it looks like Lil Wayne could be facing up to 15 years in prison for firearms and ammunition charge right now. So of course, regardless of how people feel about Weezy right now, once again, that's still one of my goats. I'm always going to show him love. And so prayers out and love to Weezy. We're definitely hoping for the best of that situation, even though you just got a bag from Trump to fake like that nigga. And so moving, do you have anything to say on the Weezy shit?
bro, you can't say that. Then I'll leave some of my Trump shit out of it because I'll give comments on the stuff now. I'll give comments on the stuff now.
Jesus Christ. I'm so happy.
I don't think, hopefully, he doesn't end up spending 15 years in prison.
Of course.
Even if found guilty, whatever. I don't think he's going to, even if he is. I know, again, things are treated a lot differently. We had this conversation, like, color crimes from, like, shit, like, having guns and whatnot illegally, blah, blah, blah. So, who knows what's going to happen. But I like to believe in this sense he has the celebrity protection, which doesn't seem to be true when it comes to black people.
And it super doesn't seem to be true when they can pin you on something like firearms. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, those are the ones we watch people sit down for real for. You know what I'm saying? Even if they are huge celebrities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I'm definitely hoping the best for Wayne. But we did have a couple good things to talk about this week. One, I wanted to double back on the PS5 conversation we had last week.
Man, PS5's got y'all acting crazy.
Acting different. What?
Acting like some
I'm just
fools.
telling y'all, like, I don't know if it was on the podcast or if it wasn't. I think it was on the pod where we were talking about sucking toes, all of that. Like, it don't matter how your toes look, baby girl. I need a PS5. DM me. But
Look, the PS5 got this man talking about how he's ready to suck toes. When, if you listen to last episode, he went into length about how he was like just so anti that shit and against it.
I didn't say anti.
Nah, the
I
way
said
you
for the
talked,
right person.
the way you talked about it, you were against.
You can't do everything for everybody. You know what I'm
No,
saying?
you weren't trying to do it for nobody. That's the difference.
Toes are just like little glizzies.
You know what? We're putting DJ on timeout for the rest of the episode. It's been nice to have input coming from this man's way. I didn't expect
on everything, bro. We gonna get you a glizzy chain. We gonna get DJ a flooded glizzy.
Iced out glizzy.
Jesus, but with the PS5,
What would you do for a PS5 realistically?
what would I do for a PS5? I mean, I wouldn't really go that much out of my way on some shit for, I mean, to be honest, it's a video game console. You know, I do all of my gaming on my computer. So, I mean, I've been very current. I'm cool. But I mean, like, if friends do have it already, friends are gonna get it. I'm gonna be able to play a PS5 eventually. So I'll have my like 5 minutes of like wanting to play one. If I really desire to have one eventually, then I'll get a PS5. But I don't it's not really like high on my priority list. You, on the other hand, said that it wasn't that high on your priority list, but have your opinions changed?
My opinions have changed from the perspective of a young adult trying to make some money. The PS5s are flipping like in no man's business. I hate to be that guy.
Did you see niggas initially selling it for over a few bands?
You know what I'm saying? Like, first? I don't want to be that guy denying a kid on Christmas Day the opportunity to open up a PS5. When I saw how much they were reselling for, I might be that guy if I can get my hands on one. I'm not gonna say Michael Jordan fuck them kids, but it's not Michael Jordan fuck them kids. You know.
You're still giving it to a kid.
To a rich kid who was gonna have
a rich kid.
He was gonna have that one, not the one who was fought all day to get it online when the drop happened.
Not the one whose dad's worried about Christmas in August.
Oh my goodness gracious,
man!
Shouts out to Drake.
You know what? Maybe after saying that out loud, I'm gonna stop. I might not try and get a PS. Oh fuck it! I'm still looking for that PS5. I went to GameStop the other day inquiring about it. Funny enough, and it's because I hadn't stepped into a GameStop in like forever, right?
I know they're talking about those bitches like you might as well have not come in here.
Bro, I walked in and I immediately said, "Hey, what's your name?" You know, trying to, create that interpersonal connection right there and there. She said, "A Bird." It's like, "Okay, Bird, it's nice to meet you. I'm not gonna lie, you know why I'm here. You know why I'm here." She goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "What's it gonna take?" She was like, "I'm not gonna lie, there's no way you're getting your hands on one through us." She said the best opportunity you have is going online and camping out.
So she wasn't fucking with you?
Bro, she told me she doesn't even know the next time they're gonna restock. They think it's Black Friday. They said they can't even hold it for themselves. I was like, I'll do whatever.
You didn't tell her you would suck her toes?
I'm not. I said a lot of names, so whatever I say next is gonna have some issues. I'm not gonna say I'm. You know what?
Midweek Madness coming to you in a couple of days, but oh, don't worry, I'm already stirring up the questions. Don't worry, I got a pop for you.
This man tries to get me on some shit every time. I'm almost really putting myself out there, but it's all good.
But on to a little bit more serious discussion. They just actually finished today the recount for Georgia because, legally, which is definitely a right of due process. So, I mean, I wasn't hating on it at all. If you really want recounts, then you deserve to have recounts. And they did the recounts officially in, I think we were the last ones to be done with the recounts. I could just be wrong with that information, but we're in this state, so this is the state I'm going to talk about.
The speed they did these recounts, though, let's talk about that for a second, because Nevada had us waiting for a minute, bro. And the speed,
because they didn't want to announce it.
All these niggas, bro.
No one wanted to be the
Georgia,
niggas to tell Trump
all of them. The speed they did these recounts, getting them done in like a day or something.
But apparently, like, it increased Biden's lead a little bit more in Georgia, like when they did the recount, and he just ended up still securing the state. So once again, for the 80th time, I'm sure y'all have heard, because I feel like every single day we hear that Biden's the official president-elect, but Biden is the official president-elect, so there goes there. But
you know what narrative it's going to push, though?
What?
The fact that they did find votes that weren't counted and shit, though, and people are going to hold on to that so much for how some of these things were bullshit and like whatever, but it's kind of sad because it's like you said, at the end of the day, your guy still didn't win. Like, no matter what, all elections on this large of a scale, it's a national election. You don't think something's going to fuck up somewhere?
There's going to be a tiny margin of error. That's why it's worth doing the recount in the first place. But it's never going to be enough to actually sway the decision.
Like, you shouldn't be giving yourself a stroke over it.
But now that we saw something actually with I can't say vice president anymore, but President-elect Joe Biden, his COVID team apparently announced that they were playing with the idea, I don't know if it's confirmed on what they wanted to do, but with a 4 to 6 week lockdown.
4 to 6?
4 to 6 weeks. Oh. And so, like like everybody, because at the beginning, it seemed like the United States was taking the COVID seriously. Like, at the beginning, everybody had the lockdown, you know what I'm saying? We couldn't go to anything but basically like grocery stores, and you couldn't really be out past a certain time. They had people patrolling, like whatever, you can get tickets for it. What are your views, just period, on another lockdown in general?
Look, like I've been saying here and there on our platform specifically, I'm all for another lockdown, and I'm all for trying to handle this pandemic aggressively and as unified as we can, so that we can just get it done in the sense of like lowering the amount of cases and protecting people at the best rate that we can, because right now what we have going on is just kind of fucked. But I'm almost a little pessimistic too, in it changing on just like everybody doing their own thing. After long conversations with my mom and my sisters, have changed my own stance on like how I plan on operating, even though I try and be as safe as possible, even in doing certain things, like to make sure that I'm not spreading shit. I'm just going to stop certain activities as a whole for a little while and just, again, be the change I want to see in the world, even though those niggas strip me of my own hope. But I'm going to try and be the change I want to see in the world. But again, I'm all for it. And we've been waiting for, I think, leadership change to happen to where I think a lot of people actually will be on board. They just wanted to collectively know that everyone's going to have to be on board.
Exactly.
And that's what we've been waiting for.
That was the main jump for me because, dude, I mean, with contrary belief with how people like to get on me about certain things on certain weekends, like whatever, it's like I would be the first person on board and ready to sign up to be locked down for 4 to 6 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be a national scale. That's not just like one city taking it seriously, one not, this popcorn effect, and y'all can get into your discussions about all of that, and that's cool. But if we had national attention where everyone had to do it and we did our best to actually, nip it in the bud, I'm all for it. I'm ready for it. And I really do hope we do something like this and once again attack COVID aggressively, because I cannot wait to be out at festivals.
Oh, I need my concerts.
I can't wait to be at concerts again, man. I miss live music so fucking much.
Camp Vlogma 2021, please.
Fucking much, dog. And so,
Afro-punk,
fingers
man.
crossed, bro.
All of it.
Bro, Afro-punk, bro, in Brooklyn, Commodore Park. Let's go. I'm telling you, bro, we need this shit back. And so I'm excited to be honest, for some of the things that they're going to be doing to try to aggressively attack COVID. So I can't wait to see if they actually bring any of these things into action. But another discussion, actually moving on with something that has been played with the Democratic Party in general, hasn't really been brought to the table as like a serious solution in terms of like how they attempt to do it and what they were saying. We've heard up to $10,000, we've heard $5,000, we've heard people say just fucking get rid of all of it, like whatever, right? But how do you feel about the idea of relieving student loan debt in general?
First off, I feel like, again, anything I say now, I'm going to go ahead and preface the fact that I'm not an expert on this shit.
Of course.
By any fucking means. And I'm not ever ashamed to admit that.
Don't know shit about shit, and it's okay.
I don't know shit about shit, man. But I will say the fact that it's way too many Americans have a crazy amount of debt that just comes from student loans. And I feel like as a whole, we'd be better off as a country and like for our economy if we could put that money into the actual fucking economy rather than going to Sally Mae and other like student like loan like debt collection like agencies or whatever. And so if they can relieve that and that burden, just better like the standard of living for like people, know.
And if they had better systems in place, right? Like, because my main thing is like maybe like, and I want to just go ahead on record and say I'm on board with the relief of all of it. Just get rid of it. Like I get that, and I get the arguments for that. Cool, but I mean honestly,
so they would just end up paying out these companies.
But that's what I'm saying. But like what I would come to a conclusion in my own like head if I wanted to think of something that would work and appease most sides, because you're never gonna appease everybody, right? In handling this shit would be separate systems based on profession, right? And I say that because like we were seeing today, teachers are different because at least to my knowledge, there are already systems in place. They may be archaic systems that need to be updated, but there are already systems in place for the relief of student loans for teachers. I believe the period is up to 10 years. After 10 years in service or whatever, but I could just be so wrong there, and that is fine because once again, I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to like see these things, but I just don't think like there was a discussion today about student loan, which is why I even brought this one up, right? And it was like it was talking about why take out so many loans for like low paying jobs and this, that. And the first thing is another discussion that I think is very important. And that is about how taboo people make it, speaking about how much they earn and money in general, and how we try to act like that's such an evil thing. But somebody actually piped up and they were like, I have $100,000 in student loan debt and I make $28K a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, if there are certain things that are just so misproportionate that I feel like there should be systems in place to help at least relieve people in situations like that, at least. Because me, for instance, I'm never, like, very privileged, happy to know I'm privileged, and have come from a background where I don't have to stress that much in that area, or have not had to stress that much in that area. Certain numbers of student loan debt I'm never going to see, and I'm never going to have to see that other people have had to see. So I want to be very clear there, right? But for like the number that I'm in comparison to like other people, like what, maybe like a couple thou or something like that, like nothing like crazy. And I think it was truly on my own, like, it was because of me. Like, I think it was truly like my parents, bless their souls, were trying to help me, and I wanted extra because I'm Chuka, like for one semester, right? And I think that's why it could have been completely.
You were trying to put a down payment on a Challenger.
I was one of them niggas that took out the student loans to get the FI car.
I'm gonna say this, like, that whole argument why I take out student loans for low paying jobs, it's like, this is in the fucking 1960s, man. First off, do you want people to go to college to be able to have like the education to even do these jobs? I don't think anyone who like. Do you want people becoming teachers who don't know shit about their fields and are just giving a shit education to the next generation of like our country? No, they have to go to college, right? They go to college, and how much does it cost to go to college? For a lot of people, it costs enough to where they need to take out motherfucking loans. This isn't 1960s. You can get a part-time job and all of a sudden you're paying for college.
And some people are in positions where they can pick and choose. Don't get me wrong, and they make decisions based on like what better affects them. I'll use two examples.
I mean, community college costs money.
One, there was like, I had a friend of mine that came from the Northeast, and she came down to school in Atlanta to go to Georgia State for the sheer fact that she was already siphoned directly into their honors program, which was a pretty acclaimed program. Like, Georgia State's actually done a lot of rising, a lot of good, whatever. But there was two like huge colleges in the North. I think it was like one in Boston and one in New York. One may have been like an NYU, like whatever, that she got accepted into with like partial scholarships, whatever, but would have like gimped her later in life, even though she knew she was going to get a high paying job, this, that. She didn't want to incur all of those loans, and she knew coming to Georgia State would be essentially free, right? But then there was another person that knocked the LSAT out of the park, right? Got accepted into Harvard Law, like cried. I was there, like, because with like a friend of hers that on FaceTime with, like, whatever, just like so stoked, right, about that. But then, like, the next week of her life was one of the saddest weeks of her lives, because she realized that going to Harvard was impossible once she saw how much it was going to cost. Because she, scored high enough on the LSAT to get into Harvard Law School, which is already a feat in itself. You look at the percentages, that's nuts. That's nice. Commend her. But you have to even score even higher for them to even think about giving you scholarships. And so she got a full ride, though, based on that score, to NYU Law. Yeah. So guess where she currently is?
I mean, it's not NYU a bad school Law. At all, man.
It's not a bad school, but think about it.
And obviously, people want to go to Harvard Law. Like,
exactly.
If that was me, and I know we're going on a tangent here, bro, Twitter's a beast of a thing, bro. I had been on that motherfucker talking about, yo, I got accepted at Harvard Law, but I can't afford to go me. Instantly, it's like, yo, bro, I would have went back to the village, bro, and took a video for the GoFundMe. I would have honed myself out, bro. What the fuck, bro? I'm a stripper for my whole next year if I got to. Bro, I'm sitting there like starving African child, first generation, bro, trying to change my whole family's life, bro. GoFundMe going stupid, trust me, but. You definitely see where the predicaments people do get placed into. Obviously, like when it comes to the critical acclaim of some of these institutions, like we don't need to get into the even greater discussion of the shitty people that do come from certain colleges that are so acclaimed versus like how we view them versus people from other schools. Man, like, name and this I'm not going to say any names, but you see people who were the top of their class at like Wharton and everything, and, you know, the leaders of the country, and it's just like...
And so it's like, I get that, but I don't know. It just
Top of the
it's
class,
just
my ass.
It's just an interesting discussion to have in general. So of course we're gonna pay attention to that, and we'll keep giving you guys updates. Another thing that happened this week, which I thought was funny enough to spin into a good conversation. To be completely honest with you, but I know that my man here, which I'm on the same boat. I hate this nigga, so I don't even like talking about.
I don't want to say hate.
Well, I
because
want to
hate's
say
a strong word, and I don't know. But at the same time, it's just like you see certain people. I'm not even gonna lie. I feel like certain people don't even believe the shit that they're saying. Like they do to an extent, but the way that people like ride for like these little things and the hills they're ready to die on. I don't want to say their names, but like the rhymes with Bammy Harin, you know what I'm saying? the hate Lynette, you know what I'm saying?
Or
like
no fools.
Yeah, like they don't. Come on, man. I don't think they're really like riding for the shit they say they ride for.
That's why I'll say, just because this man is on our go fuck yourself list in terms of not caring for, like, once again, you say the same thing with Ezgo. I can't put enough stock or time of my day into actually hating this human being because he's so irrelevant. But we'll call him BS because those are his initials. He had a quote this week about masculinity that was sparked off of the Harry Styles cover, because Harry Styles is an individual we all know, like, because of the fact that, yeah, One Direction was so fucking big and that's cool, but also because of the fact that anytime a picture of his face is on the internet, every girl that you follow is posting it on their story or talking about him or like this or that. Like, that is easily the most talked about individual from all of my timelines, whether it be Twitter or whether it be fucking Instagram, whether it be this, when they do something. Yeah. When they do something, it's over with. Like, everybody's talking about that nigga.
Yeah.
And so the comment dude made was... he said that the left is trying to get rid of masculinity by pushing forward, like, he didn't use the term androgynous, but obviously androgynous styles and just like blah, 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 these kind of things. And it's like, bro, you are one of the biggest losers online. One, who gives a fuck what you have to say? But two, that was something that I thought would be interesting for us to talk about because I saw all of the backlash. It was back and forth, don't get me wrong, but from like Lil Nas X's cover, where was it a single cover for the Christmas song where he was sexualizing himself, right? And it was just like him in front of himself. And people were talking about the lack of masculinity there, the this, that. It's like, dog, one, we need to pay...
First off, he's dropping a whole... I want to say holiday album.
That's fire. Get your bag,
this
dog.
man's trying to be the next Mariah Carey.
Get your bag, dog. Mariah Carey is one of the greatest individuals that's ever existed in history. I love that.
Bro, that holiday bag is unmatched. If you can secure
crazy.
It for year on year.
Forever.
Come on now.
Forever.
You're going to be rich for a lifetime.
Your album enters the top 200 every year. Every year for the past 2 decades.
I'll listen.
Because the second it turns Christmas time, people are ready to listen.
They're hearing your renditions of these, but go on.
Bro, niggas have been roasting Chance for the last 2 or 3 years at this point now. And nigga, the second the holiday season came, there were people, actually Jeremiah, like speaking about him and Jeremiah's fucking Christmas project. Like, if people hold on a claim about your Christmas project, they're gonna talk about it. But it was just like, one, I think people need to pay attention to the things that pay them, or to the things you give a fuck about, you know what I'm saying? In terms of just like always speaking on like people's sexuality or how people carry themselves, like what people are wearing, like this dude's in a dress, this dude's in a skirt. But B, it's just like, I truly wonder, like, honestly, like, this is just a question. It's just like, who the fuck cares? Like, why do you care enough to comment?
See, that's just it. If A, he's either trolling, or B, I feel like a lot of people have a misguided, like, nostalgia.
This nigga admitted on the internet his wife's pussy was dry when WAP came out. So I don't think that he's trolling.
Bro, no, I
think this nigga really feels
I'm trying to genuinely put myself inside of his mind right now. And in some realm, I think...
You're too much of a real nigga for that. I don't think you could even put yourself in your mind.
Bro, I'll try and relate to anybody to just see where they're coming from so I can make them understand that they're wrong. But it's like, I feel like he has this nostalgia, deep nostalgia for times prior to, like, I guess, a more progressive movement that's been happening in years as of late. And he's just thinking back to a time where pretty much things were either masculine or feminine, and you just saw, like, if you were a guy, you were going to be, like, the most macho-ass dude or, like, thrown to the wayside. That's just how it was, blah, blah, blah. And he just is reminiscing on a better time, quote-unquote, a Make America Great Again type of shit,
like
right?
The 50s.
And so... But the thing is, I think to myself, like, it's not like any of that shit died. It's just the people who are really like that are still like that. And you're just seeing the other individuals, the outsiders, more represented in who they are. And the fact, though, is, though, it's like... if you were back in those times you were talking about, my man, you're getting bullied. So those are bullied
saying,
by the
bro.
niggas that were masculine. You know what I'm saying? Quote unquote.
If we were in that time where motherfuckers were all macho and masculine, he'd be one of the biggest bitch niggas on the planet. He is already, but I mean, in that time especially, he would be getting his ass beat all the time for being such a pussy.
I feel like
it's like,
in some realm, you gotta like realize that shit and take yourself out of like your bubble, because I feel like
we've seen some shit in real life.
I want to
though.
say, like, I feel like he understands. I think if he's being genuine to himself and he removes himself from his bubble and his like little nostalgia that he has, he can realize that he's wrong on this one.
But the thing is, if you tell people, if you can remove yourself from your bubble, you know, this and all of that, we would, if that was the case, you know what I'm saying? Which it is the case, don't get me wrong, I'm agreeing with you, then the world would be cured overnight, because all of these races, all these...
Yeah, it's not going to be
like,
easy, but, you know, I just hope that someone like him does, because he has a platform, dude. No matter how you look at it, he has a massive platform of people that don't question the shit that he says, and they're just all for it. Like, yeah, man.
Bro, but facts don't have feelings.
Yeah, I bet. You know what I'm saying? And facts are like, he says the most bullshit black and white ass facts that are like talking on gray area statements. It's like, bro, I bet.
Is he political Gary Vee?
Let me not. I'm not talking about Gary Vee.
I'm stopping, bro.
Because Gary Vee didn't do anything wrong.
Gary Vee,
I don't think
nothing's wrong really with Gary Vee.
It's just sometimes the people that I'm not doing that one either. But whatever.
But no, I feel you on that one. That's funny. But anyway, moving on from dog, I believe that was the last bit of news other than our sports shit.
I shouldn't be biting my nails on camera. I feel like I'm more professional than that.
And so, like, getting into the sports stuff that we had.
NBA, yay.
There was cool shit that happened in all sports this week. Like, the Hopkins catch was one of the most... Was it Hopkins? Like, it was Kyler Murray through... Yeah, it was Hopkins because he got traded. So, it was the Hopkins catch. That shit was outstanding. This nigga was in a sandwich and caught the ball. Mm-hmm. Like, that was the best catch of the year. Mm-hmm. That was definitely the best catch of the year so far. I think that's one of those that's so you could probably already call the best catch of the season.
As I'm looking at it, I still don't understand how he made it.
That looked impossible.
And I'm not going to lie. I feel like every nigga that was guarding him needs to be
relegated.
Niggas need to be sent to the XFL. Like, get them out of here.
Get them niggas out.
No, but that was fine. That was a tough moment. Again, I'm gonna be fucking up his name, but I'm sure it's Louis Hamilton because the nigga's from the UK. So he just got his seventh
win,
like a world champion win type shit, and now he's literally the most winning race car driver.
So fire.
That shit's super tough. I don't know, man. Like I feel like you're just a champion in all means. That's again looking at like the Ronaldo, looking at the Messi, looking at these individuals, and I know that's a much less viewed sport, quote unquote. But like, still, regardless, if you have a passion for it, and you have a love for it,
racing, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And like the fans too, they're looking at that shit like they're seeing a moment right now.
Exactly.
So being able to see a moment like that. And I'm biased here, and if it was anybody, I'd be happy for them. But it's a young black man. That shit, as a driver doing this shit, that is one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
For sure. And anybody who reaches the pinnacle of their sports, like, it's super dope to see. Like,
100%.
other than the Olympics, and only the years that Phelps was swimming.
Bro,
when have you ever watched swimming?
Michael Phelps had everyone wanting to be a swimmer, bro. Communities that were scoring.
Other than Usain Bolt running track.
Goodness.
Other than Usain Bolt. Mm-hmm. When did you willingly turn your TV on and say, I'm about to watch the track meet?
I'm not watching those sports.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so reaching the pinnacle, it don't matter what your sport is. That's badass. Mm-hmm. It don't matter because that's cool. Everyone definitely shouts out to Louis. But another thing in the NFL that I wanted to point out, just because that's my GOAT, regardless of if this nigga, whatever, we're not going to get into it. Drew Brees threw a touchdown with a collapsed lung. What? Tom Brady can never. Anyways. Moving straight up. Moving right
You can see the bias just like resonating off of this man.
Tom Brady could never, for sure. Could not. But moving right along.
Bro, Tom Brady's like, bro, the fact that he's playing, I'm not going to disrespect Tom Brady. The fact that he's playing at his age, still actively and winning, I'm sure he could. If it called for it. But we got to stop putting that disrespect on Drew Brees, though. Motherfuckers got to stop putting that disrespect on Drew Brees. Like, he's not in the conversation.
This is how you know Esco don't love the Saints no more, bro.
What?
He don't love the Saints no more, bro. This nigga was caping for Brady on the pod?
Bro, I'm not caping for Brady. I'm just saying, look, he could that, bro, what? The disrespect. Anyway.
That nigga trash, bro. That nigga basically
that
nigga basically Johnny Manziel with a MAGA hat.
So you saying he's trash And you talking about all this shit that Tom Brady can't do is going to invalidate us as division champions when we get there. That's all I'm saying.
Don't let it invalidate us. We been knew what was gonna happen when the season started, so it don't matter.
Obviously, the Saints are gonna get there, but we got over there over cakewalk over competition because these niggas are good. They're not good enough.
Oh, you're trying to sell the story for the Super Bowl celebration. I feel you. This nigga think 3D chess, bro. He has been playing a lot of chess. I feel you. But anyways, shouts out to the Saints and shouts out to fucking Jameis getting some more minutes. I love whenever that nigga gets to play. But the last thing for sports is
collapse long. He might see a few more minutes, bro.
Right. To be fair, like they're
gonna be definitely keeping that one under watch.
Oh, for sure. Especially when we're ahead in our division. Like, please, Breeze, rest. You know what I'm saying? Rest for right now. And it's a good time to get some rest, anyways, before you have to come in for the tail end of the season. But we saw some very nice trades that happened in the NBA. And I think, actually, this is another Offspace prediction that went right. And the reason I have to talk about Offspace predictions going right is, once again, how many we got wrong this year in basketball.
Yeah. Y'all got to forgive us for this last year of basketball predictions. And just like
one thing we did say last year, when some of the crazy trades were happening, we said, if y'all thought last year was crazy, we're just watching the beginning and the opening of the floodgates. Yeah. And this year, we haven't even watched the end of the window yet. And we've already seen some shit. You're like, what?
I'm not trying to say niggas are running to the East, but a lot of people are getting moved to the East as soon as LeBron moves over to the West.
Is it spooky season?
People are getting exposed.
Is it spooky season?
Exposed.
Niggas don't want to play against Bron and AD.
Oh my goodness.
Niggas don't want to play against Crusoe.
They don't want that problem.
Niggas don't want the Crusoe problem.
Bro, they don't want the Schroeder problems now.
Right, bro. I'm not
gonna lie. Dennis Schroeder is a solid.
No. Dennis Schroeder is an excellent piece. They got Dennis Schroeder for fucking some toast and a Wendy's coupon. They basically gave nothing up.
Whoa. Niggas said toast and a Wendy's coupon. I'm not gonna lie. For all the Jones I've given Danny Green over the season.
No, bro.
Niggas are roasted.
No, Esgo, be real though. Dennis Schroeder is the biggest steal of the year.
Bro, I'm not disagreeing with you. It's the fact that you describe this nigga as toast and a Wendy's coupon though, because that's essentially what you're describing. Danny Green.
Really, I think I gave him too much. For how he played last year?
I'm not gonna lie, he played like buns. You can see him crack too. I feel bad.
Under pressure, he looks like he's.
I'm not just saying under pressure, but you can see him crack when it came to the fans though, because this man, I think he really hates the fans at this point. How much they're like been roasting him, and I feel like when fans roast, a lot of times we roast out of love because we want to see you do better. The fans just bullied Kuzma off of the internet, so hopefully he comes back a better NBA player because he has way too much damn potential to be wasting on Instagram.
Exactly.
And Twitter.
We've spoken so highly of Kuzma that all of our jokes. It was a while ago. Don't get me wrong when we were hailing him, but it's like. All of our jokes aside, Kuzma's a player I want to see win so badly, but it seems like he keeps getting wrapped up in a lot of the outside bullshit. But I mean, like, it's exactly the Danny Green thing, and I will shoot him some bail. I know I called him some toast and a Wendy's coupon, but it's like, which I mean for this year, truly. Like, that was the biggest steal. But it's like, one thing I do want to give some credit to is that a lot of players, like even Jordan came out and said he doesn't know how he'd even be able to react to or handle the social media age pressure. But you take the social media age pressure and then you add on historic franchise that is known for winning. Like, we know what the Lakers like to do. There are so many players, keep it a buck. There are so many players in the last 20 years, none of us should know their name.
Oh my goodness.
But we know all of their names for real. We know how they dress. We know their IGs. We know Twitters, all of that because of the Lakers stimulus package. If you're on a team like the Lakers, it's like good and bad. It's like the good is you get to play on a historic franchise, a franchise that's known for winning. You usually get to play with huge stars like a Kobe, like a Bron, like an AD, like stuff like that. Cool. But the bad side is if you tie your shoes wrong in a Lakers jersey, top of the news over there, you're getting killed on Twitter. Like, you have to understand, like, the limelight follows you if you're in those uniforms. So I think him going to a team like an OKC, like with that trade, he's probably going to do a lot better next year, you know? Because when you think about Danny Green's career, he's played with a lot of big franchise and big name teams. He's never played with somebody with the magnifying glass on them like a Lakers franchise.
Isn't it kind of crazy though? Even like looking on LeBron sense, the fact that the Lakers are the biggest. Obviously, they're probably the biggest team and like you can play for in the NBA. Yeah, I don't even want to say minus the Celtics because I still think they're a bigger team to play for than the Celtics.
Because the Celtics was lucky fraudulent because 11 of them came from it. But anyways.
But it's just like, you know, a lot of those years are spent in smaller franchises, even if like you look at the Heat, still a big market, not the Lakers market.
Because that's different. That's
not the same.
LA.
So yeah, having people out there, and especially ones that can perform, that says a lot. But the ones that can't, he's gonna have a solid rest of his career on different teams though. Because Danny Green's not a bad player by any stretch.
All jokes aside, Danny Green's really not bad. But Dennis Schroeder, bro, they got a player that averaged 18 off the bench. You know what I'm saying? A player that's looking like he's getting into the best years of his career.
I think,
and they're getting him off the bench. You know what I'm saying? On that Lakers team that already won. You know what I'm saying? And they still have space to get a big time player, bro. That Lakers team is going to be looking dangerous next season.
I think OKC needs to trade Danny Green to over the Bucks. I think he would do great.
To be honest, I think he'd do great on the Bucks. Plus, I think it'd be a good redemption arc for him, just because it's a team that is a title contender every year in year out. As long as Giannis is there, they will be title contenders. And
they have their shooter right now in Bogdan, but I feel like they can move Bogdan over to OKC and just help that young core like grow and shit, and give Danny Green like a veteran who's gonna fulfill that 3-and-D role that you need, fit in to space the floor for Giannis.
Exactly. So I wouldn't be mad at that too. And then there was the CP3 trade, which I'm so happy for Chris Paul, just because like.
Are we though?
I'm super happy for him though. Super happy, just because obviously the bubble is different from like playing in a regular arena, but we saw a sighting of what the Suns can do. Yeah. Right. And now the problem me and you have spoken about exactly with a player like your dog,
Devin Booker,
like a D Book. It's just like that solves his issue, because once again you have a player that's always going to create, a player that is selfless, a player that can and will score, and a player that knows what it takes.
Like, I'm not saying Ricky Rubio didn't do that, but Chris Paul is going to take it to that next level. And but you already saw what he was doing, and when you had anything, I'm not saying Ricky Rubio is like by any means like the worst player or some shit. He's like a solid, decent player. He's a B
player. Like,
I don't even want to say B plus. He's like a B player.
But it's like a Chris Paul dog. That's about to be so nice, because Devin Booker's like main concern every single time when he plays is just like he knows he's going to get doubled because he's the scoring threat. You know what I'm saying? Plus, so dealing with, like, if you watch basketball, dealing with a double team is a lot easier to do when you're moving without the ball trying to figure it out, right? But a lot of the times the Suns would get put in pinched places where D Book, it would be their only person that can faithfully hold the ball.
And no offense, what was he about to do? What was he about to do? Swinging that shit out to Kelly Oubre for a corner three?
Because D-Book playing more of a Clay type position is going to bring out the best of his career. Because that's what he wants to do. He wants to grab the ball and kill. He doesn't want to create. He wants to kill. Exactly. And so I'm happy to see him get a position like a chance like that, and Chris Paul get another chance to continue proving his worth, in the NBA, which he doesn't have anything to prove to anybody. But I like more after seeing what he did last year on OKC. I like watching the Chris Paul like solves a problem.
Know what you didn't get to see though from him on OKC? Because keep it a buck, Steven Adams is a sturdy man. You know what I'm saying? He's strong. He's not getting bodied by a lot of people like that. Like, he's gonna be able to.
One of the strongest people in the NBA.
However, he ain't have that crazy athleticism. He got DeAndre Ayton now. Lob City, in a sense, might be back.
You know what I'm saying? I'm excited to see it. And then we have the potentials. No, we have the Drew trade, which we want to definitely give a shout out to and a good farewell to a New Orleans legend when it comes to Drew Holiday. That's somebody I'm always going to respect as a player, always going to want to see him win, and always going to love. And so I'm so happy to see him get the opportunity to play for a team that doesn't play too much like our team does, and actually has a chance of going to finals and things like that. Because our team, don't get me wrong, I have faith in it, but it's going to take time. Like, we're in the time of like figuring it out and like working towards getting there. Like, Drew's in the tail end of his career, like age-wise, you know what I'm saying? Not all the way there. I'm not saying
we talked about it before. We talked about having to trade Drew because it's going to be a shame to watch him waste his career on a rebuilding team. And B, like, he just deserves better. Like,
one of the best two-way players in the league. Was the best two-way guard in the league for a while. You know what I'm saying? When it came to averaging over 20 and locking anybody up. Yeah. Anybody up. And so
it's tough to say with Clay. That's the only thing is it's tough to say with Clay.
Tough to say
the fact that
with
it's
Clay.
tough to say with Clay, I feel like that doesn't get enough credit.
Exactly. But you know how niggas do our city when it comes to like people wanting to discredit what Drew's done. Like if we talk about football, like people wanting to discredit what we've done in terms of just like success in football.
Until you have a
with the
dynasty,
Super
people
Bowl.
don't give you credit for shit.
And so, like, we definitely understand the New Orleans effect on a player like Drew Holiday. That's why I hope he gets to get back some of the acclaim he deserves. So, shouts out to Drew Holiday, and shouts out to the Pelicans because we also worked it out in a way where we got a perfect
Three first round
picks,
Bledsoe.
two trades, 2 pick trades with Milwaukee, and we got Bledsoe and
I'm fucking up on the last piece, but to be fair, I don't want to say it like this, but if I can't remember it, it wasn't the highlight of the trade, but it was good enough.
Then we have the potential trade that might happen of the talks because Westbrook's made it very clear the team.
Oh, we got George Hill.
That
feels bad. He's disrespecting George Hill.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
The potential trade, just because Westbrook's made it clear the cities he would like to go to, and there are plenty of cities fielding him right now, of course, and seeing the fact that a lot are like genuinely.
I'm not disagreeing with.
Okay. Sorry, were you about to dip into your? Never mind. Let me stop. But we have Westbrook, potentially there are talks, we don't know if it's true, it's early discussion of Westbrook for John Wall, and that is interesting to me. Obviously there's a lot of upside, there's a lot of downside too because of things that we've seen, like the fact that Wall hasn't played a full season in a few years. He is still very young and he says he's the healthiest he's ever been, so I want to believe that and want to say that the killer that is John Wall will come back out for show, especially because like during the only few months he played of that last season before he really got a chance, he was killing. He definitely was still killing.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just skeptical because like with any like people who are injury prone and out for a while over the course of like seasons, it's hard to see them really come back in a meaningful way. And hopefully he does, and it's just almost like a PG situation. He comes back and he somehow gets better. But only time will tell on that. I'm just excited to finally see John Wall playing again. It's been so damn long, and who knows, like honestly this can be a good spot for the Rockets, especially if they lose Harden, knowing that if John Wall plays like crazy and had built his stock up and everything, they can trade him to a team that's going to want him for a winning position, and they'll be able to get a solid rebuild like in picks / whatever, a young core, knowing that that's the direction the Rockets are on, because the Rockets are not winning anytime soon when it comes to like a title.
Bro, it's funny to me though because I just thought about something, but once, like we touched on, we'll get right back to it when it comes to the potential Harden trade, because it seems there are rumblings that he is not content in Houston anymore. He turned down the $50 million a year offer that they offered him.
Most for any NBA player in NBA history.
He would have been the first NBA player to be paid 50 M&Ms a year. You should have saw the tweets that was flying, bro. All these celebrities coming out like, if I ever deny 50 M's, check on me. Like Josh Hart on our fucking team talking about, this nigga said no to 50.
Bro, first off, I got comments on some of these niggas. I get the jokes, but did you see Josh Hart talking about if Harden goes to the Nets, bro, you know what? I was already done with 2020, but I'm going to be done with 2021 too, because the season's a wrap. Bro, I'm not gonna lie.
I don't need it like that on my
I don't
team.
care if like that's what you're joking with the homies, like behind closed doors. That's fine. You're an NBA player who's has an active spot on a team.
You know what I'm saying? Good minutes too,
bro. Good minutes, bro. Is this really what you're talking about on social media? Do better than that, man.
But one thing that is important to discuss for sure, is James Harden reportedly does worse in cities with strip clubs. Because he's a Hall of Fame legendary sniper. Like we've all heard the legends of James Harden. Somebody that is apparently on the Mount Rushmore of snipers is John Wall, but he lives in DC and is in the Mount Rushmore of snipers. Do you think it would actually be counterintuitive to his career if he came to Houston because it is known as the hot spot of that scene?
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Anywhere that's not a Milwaukee, Utah, like some off, like nothing's their place, no offense, it's gonna be hard to see these people really play in the form they need to. Niggas got their vices, bro, for real, and I get it, truly. It's gonna be hard.
Niggas talking about, bro,
we're gonna see how disciplined you really are.
Niggas talk about they left the game early to try to get to the club. And John Wall was playing in the game, and by the time they got to the club, John Wall was already there in a section with his niggas, bro. It's like, bro, this nigga ready for the moment. Always ready for the moment. But no, shout out to John Wall. I want to see John Wall succeed so badly. But
I think he has it under him, the fact that his career, it's a do or die in the sense that people have to see something when you haven't played in so long, that if you don't, you're going to not be getting the contracts you want. You're going to be on teams you don't want to be on. Your career is going to be fleeting and you have to do something. So I think he's going to have that in the back of his head, knowing that he's not going to let the bullshit thing stop him from like showing out. And so he's probably going to come out and like show out regardless of wherever he is.
I think he's going to come kill for sure, especially if his body allows. But one of the last things I wanted to talk about just before we actually get out of here, and I just thought about this, of course, it's what the fuck have you been watching this week? Just so we can leave it on a note of just like...
I want to say, I guess, nothing too crazy, but I've been watching this week, but something that I watched in the past that I know y'all, I don't think we ever talked about on here, or maybe we did, like, remind me, but so much Queen's Gambit hype, bro, and I still have not seen you watch it.
I watched it.
You did?
I watched every episode except for the last one.
Oh, we talked about it off the thing, actually.
I still haven't watched the last one because I'm sad that it ends. Because that show is fire.
Now I know why Ezugo is playing so much chess. It all makes sense.
I've played chess before that. Check my account, bro. It's years old. But anyway.
No, that show is fire.
Yeah.
The lead, I'm horrible with actors and actresses' names, so I know that feels like very terrible. I have a computer in front of me, so I'm going to look it up. But the lead in Queen's Gambit is honestly, you see, a Euphoria was one of them for me. Just a Euphoria, a Marvelous Miss Maisel, just like new age, like really getting acclaimed shows that people are talking about being like really good, this, that, yada, yada. I don't know, you're seeing a new flock of actors and actresses
that are like...
that I'm excited to see what the fuck they're in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I'm starting to be like really...
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Anya Taylor-Joy. She's
in something else that's pretty big right now. I can't remember what it was.
Fire.
Like in terms of being a good show, you'd say it checks all the boxes, mate.
I don't know why I actually wanted you to say that.
It's almost like y'all are beginning to see something, right? You're seeing it on cam a little bit. There's so many times we'll be talking to DJ, right? It'll get our attention just on the most like, serious shit right now. And it's never.
That is incredible. But she's awesome. Anya Taylor-Joy. She's fire. Like, she's like mysteriously sexy. I love women like that too.
It's funny that they kept his actual name, Harry Beltic. Do you know something?
What?
His face looks familiar, right? The whole time you're watching the show, his face looks familiar. He's Dudley or whatever, Harry's cousin from Harry Potter. Way back when. No bullshit.
That's so fucking fire.
I couldn't place him, but I was like, I know this guy from fucking somewhere.
Oh, but just like, I don't know. I love I don't know. I'm so bad with like film terms because that's not my bag, to be honest. So I just describe things just so, but it's just like, the way the camera is for the show, like the lighting, the effects, like whatever, just like the way it's set up is such an easy sell for me. Like, there are so many shows set up with just that kind of same mood, I guess. And I feel like I can't think of one of them that I dislike.
I get you, though.
Like, for some reason, that's just, like, becoming a new, like, easy bag sell for me. I was going to say period pieces because a lot of period pieces are set like that, but I don't think Queen's Gambit is a period piece.
It is in a sense, though.
It's a piece,
because
it's more like a chess piece.
It's like, it's set in like, the late 50s, early 60s and shit.
Okay.
But the thing about the show, at least for me, that I thought was, like, incredible, because I was having a conversation with a friend who, funny enough, is like really good at chess, right? He's like right below the ratings for like what a master would be, and he used to take the shit really serious. I remember he was like a Florida something like champion Florida, like back when he was like doing chess in college and everything, and like went to a bunch of these tournaments and stuff and described how it was like very realistic to how like things actually are, blah blah blah. And even the games they played were realistic, and like were real games. But it's the fact that you see all these people giving the show that much attention. and kind of respecting and like rooting for like these individuals as they're playing, like understanding like, oh, I'm happy that she's grinding it out, or people are grinding out, they're learning this shit, like take it seriously, go hard and shit on niggas, right? But it's like, it's almost reminiscent of like the same video game tip in the sense, because without something like this, you don't see people looking at niggas who play chess, people who played like esports games like League or whatever, and like take them seriously and play them a lot and like dedicate like lives to them to become like top rated professionals, go to worlds, compete in like these big tourneys and take their craft seriously. You didn't see that type of love, but now you're seeing it because it's been like romanticized. And even if that's the case, I'm still happy because I know that translates to something else, and now people are going to be viewing some of these things a little bit differently. So it's nice to see that happen.
Hey, and then another thing. No, that was really good. That was a really good wrap up on the Queen's Gambit portion. And I also think that is just something with film in general nowadays. We're seeing a lot of concepts that are not typically that cool, quote unquote. Like, I know our family's history when it comes to like puzzles and like board games and like little stupid shit like that. We've always loved that kind of stuff. Always loved like brainy type shit. Cool, like word searches, Sudoku, like the whole 9 yards, family's gone through it. You know, my stupid ass in Tetris. But it's like seeing them put on camera and made cool, you know what I'm saying, is so dope to me too. So I definitely understand where you're coming from there. But some other things to think about, like, I still haven't watched it yet, and I'm going to watch it tonight, so I'll talk about it on the next episode, but I keep avoiding spoilers while still seeing how hyped people were about the last episode of Jujutsu Kaisen.
I knew what you were going to say before you even mentioned it, because my God, I immediately like,
that's all the anime people I follow. A lot of them have been talking about a week about how crazy.
I'm so careful about spoilers, and the first thing I say to Matt, which isn't a spoiler, but I told you, I was like, bro, this guy's monster. Like, he's actually insane. And that's all I said. And I'm not going to spoil anymore. And he immediately is like deading that shit. Like, don't tell me anything. Because this is one of those episodes that you reflect back after, like, I feel like 50 or so, whatever. And it's just like, it's cool to have these moments that were like just very Fi moments. And you're going to get a Fi moment in that next episode.
Sirski. And so with that being said, my name is Chuka.
My name is Azugo.
And this is the Offspace. Yes, Sirski.